This episode is brought to you by Communications Training for Coffee Teams, a new Map It Forward workshop tailored to get your team communicating more confidently to improve general mental health as well as business profitability. Click the link in the show notes for further details. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Map It Forward, friends. I'm your host, Safar, and this is the third in a 5-part series that's titled Preparing for Change. And the kind of change that we're talking about is an economic change that's happening on a global scale, or has the potential to happen on a global scale. The last couple of years, we've been talking about an economic tsunami that's coming. Is that happening right now? We don't know, but we do know that the economy is heating up, and or the stresses on the economy globally are heating up, and they have been for a couple of years now when it comes to inflation and interest rate hikes. And now again, with what's been happening with the global banking situation. So in the first episode of this series, we talked about how do you prepare for the change that's coming. In the second episode of this series, which was the last episode, we spoke about understanding your financial position. And we spoke specifically about income, debt, assets, and pricing. Now, in this episode, we're going to look more deeply at income and securing your coffee revenue streams. Now, when we refer to coffee revenue streams, what do we mean? Now, that depends on who you are. It depends on how you engage in coffee and what kinds of different revenue streams you have. So for a second, I just want to start with if you're an employee. So if you work for somebody, your number one coffee revenue stream, I suspect, is the income that you earn from your employment. What's going to be important as change takes hold is that I suspect a lot of the businesses that have been operating the way that they operate may go out of business, and that is only to be expected. It's been a very challenging few years. There are a number of stresses that have been put on small businesses, medium and large businesses, and it is only a matter of time before many of them can no longer survive. And the reason is because our industry operates, even pre-pandemic, on razor-thin margins, somewhere around the 3% net profit. That means the margins that our industry operates on, after we take into account all the goods we buy to run our business and all the expenses that it costs to run a business, our operating expenses, when we deduct all of that from our revenue, what's left is somewhere, if the business is being run well, somewhere around 3%. So that's razor thin. Because of inflation, a lot of that 3% net gain has worn down because a lot of businesses have customers who are extremely price sensitive. So they had to be very careful of how they increase their pricing. So if you are an employee, it is important to make sure that you're working for a business that you have confidence has the ability to weather an economic tsunami. And how do you do that? Well, you have a conversation with your employer and you garner a confidence level, realistic confidence level, on whether you think that they understand what's happening and how they're going to move forward with it. So I am utterly impressed by the younger generation in our industry and their ability to have difficult conversations. So I would encourage you to lean into that if you are an employee and have conversations that are most likely to give you insight into your employer's knowledge and preparedness about this situation. Now, when you've done that, then I want you to start thinking about how can I add an alternate revenue stream in coffee or outside of coffee to my primary revenue stream. Now, the reason I want you to do this is because I want you to have learnt from what happened to a lot of people in the pandemic. Had it not have been for government assistance, many of the employees in our industry would have been completely screwed. So I don't want you to get caught unawares. I hope that if you've been a long-time listener of this podcast, this is already something that you have been preparing for, you have been saving, you have been making sure that you reduce your debt. But it is really important that you start considering how you can get an alternate revenue stream, whether it is content creation, whether it is consulting as like a concierge online to help people who brew coffee at home. You can become their kind of consultant. Whatever it is, if you haven't already done this is absolutely a time to start looking at diversifying your revenue streams. Can you pick up extra work somewhere else? Can you start a YouTube channel? These things take a long time to monetize, so that's probably not the best way to adapt now, but find a way to add at least one more revenue stream to your main income source and start to pivot from there. Now, if you're a business owner, securing your coffee revenue streams is going to be something that you take a deeper dive into as a business owner. What's going to be really important, as we spoke about in the last episode, assessing your pricing models is going to be an important gateway to then assessing your revenue streams. So are you maximizing all your potential for earning through the year? We spoke in the last episode about earning potential. So when it comes to your earning potential, are you maximizing the labor force that you have access to? Could you be doing things with your baristas that invite the public into a learning situation that your baristas could perhaps participate in? You could charge for classes and perhaps increase pay your baristas for some extra time so that they're earning more money. You can generate more revenue from teaching classes and selling extra product. If you haven't already, do you have an e-commerce solution for what you're doing? Are there opportunities that are available to you that you are not yet thinking about when it comes to the equipment that you have access to, the distributors that you have access to, the selling potential that you have access to, and how to use the knowledge that exists in your business to try and leverage all of these other things that could come together to create new revenue streams for you. Let's say you have some excess coffee. You have access to a little bit of capital. It doesn't need to be a lot. It could be a few $1,000s. Is there a way that you can turn that coffee into a repurposed product like drip bags or capsules that you can draw in a new customer base in through your marketing efforts? So it is really, really important that you understand the different opportunities that are available to you when it comes to diversifying your revenue streams and making sure that the revenue streams that you already are using have been maximized. So are you marketing these revenue streams correctly? Are you making sure that the messaging is on target? Are you pointing that messaging at the right people? And in the next episode, we're going to be talking about reassessing your plan. And it's going to be about this kind of stuff. Are you sure that the customer that you're talking to is the right customer? Are they still your customer? Are the products that you're selling, are they still the appropriate products? So as your revenue streams are being assessed, an important part of doing that is making sure that the product that you're selling is still the same product that your customer wants. And this requires you to make sure that you have an open conversation with who your customer is. And so I would encourage you to make sure that you are across your social media networks and make sure that you are asking questions that engage customers. If you feel it's not working, keep trying. If it's still not working, go and find some help from some consultants that are out there. It's going to be super important for you to get ready this way. So I hope this has been helpful. In the next episode, we're going to be talking about reassessing your plan for 2023. And I hope you find this helpful. Peace, love, and peanut butter, friends. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for tuning in, friends. There are 2 ways you can support this podcast. Firstly, become a paid member of our YouTube channel. Secondly, you can join our Patreon for as little as $3 a month. Don't forget to subscribe and like this video before you leave, and check the show notes for more information. Now, this is what you should check out next.